Good morning, everybody. Thanks for joining me, and thank you very much for all the kind thoughts because Mom's not feeling well. Her ribs are starting to get better, but because of the head injury, she's still, it's sad, but she's trying hard, and we're giving her lots of TLC, and thank you again. And I am glad you are enjoying the community channel. It seems to be really getting so people are going there and communicating with each other because I post the picture, and then once that's done, there's lots of room underneath to comment on everybody's orchids or ask for help or whatever. So if you send me the picture to my email address, which is CarolynOrchidFriends@yandex.com. Then once I have your permission to put the picture, I post it, and after that, you guys can go look at orchids all day. So I'm glad that that's going fine. I think it's going to improve as time goes on. And let's see. Saturday we went garage sailing, and after I do this, get to the end of the video, I'll show you what we got on our garage sale. And I'm going to repot this orchid. Now, we have not had rain in a couple months. This is crazy. The humidity in the house is 45 approximately. And I run the misters all day now because it's so dry. And it's so hot because we took the plastic off the greenhouse and off the peach tree because it's so hot in the daytime. Now, I think the weather station says it's around 70. It was 90 2 days in a row on our thermometer, but that's in the sun, and I guess they take it in the shade. But in the sun, it's been 90 and very hot. And also what's happening is the west windows where my orchids stay all winter, it's too hot to be right in the windowsill of each window. So I have to move them all back. So I have moved some here. And the other thing, because it's so dry, is I mist twice a day, once in the morning and the afternoon. And today, because it's Sunday and I'm halfway to my next watering day, which will be Wednesday, I will be giving them, just going around with my watering can, and I'll be giving them extra water. Because they're all on saucers, like this one, I'm not soaking them when I do a halfway watering, even in the summer when they go out here. Now, they're not going out there yet because at night, because of the snow on the mountains and there's no sun, we get ice on our fountain in the morning. So dry, dry, dry. So this I do in the summer too. But this is unusual for us to usually March and April showers bring May flowers, are rainy. Not this year. So what I do is I just pour water from the top, and all of mine are on saucers. So I give them a good watering all around. I let it drip through. The water in the saucer can stay there and add to the humidity. And what that will do, it's not a 10-minute soak, but it's enough because of the dry air and the dryness. And if you're somewhere where it's extra dry, you probably have to give it extra watering too. But watering day is the fertilizing day or whatever, according to my water schedule, that I'm adding to my water. And whenever I do a second watering, it's just water, and water from our tap water. So I'll do that to all of them later, but that's on the agenda. Now, the ones that were stuck in the window, they got hot, and some of them lost their flowers, but I'll peek you over this way after. We're doing awfully well. Like when you have flowers for 4 to 5 months, that's pretty nice. So what else I've done is I put this over my gas stove and made sure it's clean, because this is the orchid I want to repot. And this is the one I broke. I went and broke the flower off, and yes, it's still got some flowers. They're getting real wrinkly, but because it's so dry, I wanted to repot it. And this one is not a real small pot, but it has these great big holes. So it has lots of airflow, and even before I water, you can see in here, even though it's extremely dry, and I'll show you how dry, in here, the roots are quite green. You can hear. Now, what I have been doing, the reason it's helped him, or the bark's falling, is I've had it in another, I've had it in another container. It's a container where air can still get around the plant, but the light's not getting in. Now, if it was real humid, I'd probably put a little bowl or something under it and raise it in the container it's in, but when it's dry, it's down. So that's another way of helping keep that humidity in your pot, is having it in another pot, where if it's too humid and you're having trouble with staying too wet, then you want to make sure it's not in another pot and you have lots of air. So I'm going to take the stake off. This is one of those, it has rusted a bit over time. I reused them, but Jack just soldered or welded to one of these clips, and it works. So we'll take that off. And I'm just going to, I got my scissors ready, and then if you remember, this bark's been smoking since the last video, and I haven't touched it. I just wiggled around a bit, and surprisingly enough, the bag didn't leak either. Not very much, anyway. So, okay, let's dump this out. Oh, the other thing I have to address is these are aerial roots, but I'm not going to worry about them. I'm going to put them in the pot, and because it is just bark. So I'm going to hold it like there. See if that, yeah, I'm going to hold it really firmly around the stem, and I'm just going to dump it. I very carefully want to take those aerial roots out of that hole. Oh my goodness, one grew. Oh, that looks interesting. Look at this. Let's see. One is growing out that hole and back in again. Now I'm just going to take a minute because I need both hands, and I want to very gently deal with that. I could have wet it first, but I wanted to show you. There we go. There we go. How the roots look and how dry it is. Now, watering day, this is halfway to watering day. So yes, the bark is very dry. No dampness, so that's because bigger air holes in this pot. And even though I've had it sunk in a container, it has just been very dry. And but the extra watering will just add a little humidity till Wednesday to the pot. So I want to show you, I haven't been back in. You can see here where these were the roots when I potted it, the ones we had to take off because it was in moss. And here's a couple dry ones. Now I'm going to clip that off. Now sometimes these dry ones, like up here, it's a little greener. But sometimes you can get little offshoots of new roots. But this one I'm making sure is very hollow and dry. So this is from the original potting. And I'm going to take it off right there. Yeah, so that one was definitely needing, just do a cleanup when you repot. And the only reason we're repotting this one is because of the pot is just not going to be good for summer out in the patio. And there's another one right in here. This one, I'm going to take it off. Let's see if I can, there. So, other than that, these roots are very nice. And you can see this one grew a root and then it grew another root. And the bark is fine because I can't remember. I was going to look it up when I put it in this pot. But this bark is all perfectly fine. So I'm going to use some of this bark. It's dry. But this is what I mean. Orchids that are growing in just bark, depending on how your situation is, but mine are in the house and outside in the summer, the roots become very hardy. They become so hardy that even if I didn't water it, give it extra water till Sunday, it would be good. But the ones in the traffic cones, they won't need as much. I'll probably just dribble a little bit of water to run through to add some humidity to the pot, but not like I'm not going to do a serious watering because they will be holding more. They are very happy. I'll show you them after, but they're in flower. The traffic cones sit away from the window. I love the traffic cones, actually. I could, because I can sit them wherever I want them. And they're happy. They seem to like them. So the other thing is, of course, I'm going to put it in this is a paint can, and it's a plastic, the latex paint come in plastic, but if you have oil paint, I think they're in tin. And Jack cut the top off of this one so that when I put it in the stand that it's going to be in, it doesn't show, and there will be a slight amount of airflow. Air will be able to get in the side and flow around, so it's not in tight confinement in that pot. And like I said, if it was a very humid days, I'd raise it, let the roots get some light. But that is no watering since Wednesday. So let's, now the only other thing that was in that pot is this is some crumpled old brick mortar that I put in the bottom. Actually, it's not doing much good in the bottom other than weight, and I should have put them at the top so when I water, some of that calcium goes out. So I think what we'll do, I'm not going to worry about any aerial roots. I think these ones will all be fine. So I'm going to, and you saw that I soaked the bark for 3 days in a quarter of a teaspoon of CalMag and a quarter teaspoon of seaweed fertilizer. So let's put some of this in. Maybe a couple dry ones. I might need a little extra, I don't know. This bark's still good. That's the other thing. You find you don't have to repot as often and dry because it's dry. You're allowing air and your watering days. This had a beautiful bloom till I broke it all off. So I've got about an inch or so in the bottom, maybe a little more. I haven't done any housework, so I'm not too worried about the floor because that'll make me do it. I've just been too busy. So I'm just gonna, see that one went out and then went in again, but these guys, I'm just gonna kind of curl them up down there. see. I like to keep the crown a little higher. I like to have mine a little higher, not down into the moist. Now if you plant them too low and you do have moss or some other substrate that holds humidity, then if your plant is low, you are more likely to have trouble with root rot, crown rot. Smells like fur. Okay. So I didn't water the plant at all. It's going to get water from this, which will be good enough, and on watering day it will get watered also. Oh, look at one of the little ones that decided, I don't care what you say, I'm sticking out. Oh dear. Yeah, this will be perfect. I'm going to be very happy in there. I should have put a strainer. Shoulda, woulda, coulda strained this, so let me go in the sink for a minute and see if I can get some of the water out of it. Now this water that I've added stuff to, this water is still good, and being it's so dry, I can go throw it on the flower garden outside, or I could put it on some plants here. This water, it has some coloring from new fir bark, but it also has goodness in it, so I won't waste it. If this keeps up, it's very scary. We could get a fire season, so I think at the end of the week they're predicting rain. Now let's hope so. Okay. And with a vegetable garden that is just fluffy, usually this time of the year after Jack's rototilled the garden, weeds grow like crazy because it's raining. It hasn't been raining, there's no weeds growing, just crabgrass, and the raspberries darn it all. I'm trying to get rid of it, but there. There. That's good. Now I still have some good bark here that what I do sometimes is I go around and see if any need a little extra bark on the top, or I'll just keep this till next time. So this will just sit out here and drain for a minute, and maybe I'll put those on the top. They'll do more good on the top than they will in the bottom. I add CalMag now. I didn't used to, so I only add 1/4 teaspoon, and I did check with a strip the quality of our water, and everything seems good. So anyway, that's good. So I'm going to let this sit here and drain a little bit, and I'm going to show you, we went garage sailing. Now everybody here, they wear masks, so you get, there was, I think we went to two garage sales. We could have drove further, but we don't. And Mom was busy babysitting Maggie, so we thought, well, we'll just be quick. Most men would have enjoyed it. It was this house, I think they had 40 acres. A double house and a huge shop, and just off the highway. And it was a beautiful place, and they said they're moving into town, and they had so much man stuff there. And I found one thing. I spent $2 there. They had a $3 price tag on it, and I'll show you what I got. Now, they had a bunch of, it's a picture frame that I was after, because I liked it. And as you know, I did a giraffe painting last winter, so I'll save this till winter. And somebody had put this picture on it, and they'd put some glued fur, which I'll take all off, but this is solid. And I was just going to mask this when I paint it and paint on it, but Jack says, no, you should take it off, which is very simple. So all this will come off. It's made in Hong Kong. It was 1879, who knows when. So for $2, this will make a beautiful painting. I love the frame. So I would gesso the back and do a nice painting on there to match the, I could even do orchids there. So they even use cute little rattan things for the back. So that's all I got at the huge man's garage sale. And now we went to another one. It was an older couple, probably in their 80s or 90s. I don't know, 80s probably. So I got all this for $7. I said, how much for the paint stuff? I always got things to paint, not just art paint, but walls and lots of stuff. So, and even painting, I use these. So for $7, that's what the lady said she wanted. I got this painter's mate tape because I have to paint downstairs this winter. I was supposed to do it last winter. Don't ask me where the time went. So I got all that masking tape. One not even out of the package. I got some, it's duct tape. It's kind of gray looking. We're always taping something, especially with the plastic on the greenhouse, because it gets ripped and we're always having to tape a hole. And then I got a plastic scraper and a screwdriver. Doesn't look like it's ever been used. An ice cream bucket, which I can use. Always a use for them in the garden. And a scraper that I can probably put out in the patio. And, I mean, all this for $7. All these brushes are new. They haven't been used. And Jack the other day was, what was he painting? He was painting something, and he said, have you got a paintbrush? And I finally found a well-used one. But these are new. This one has a green stain on it, but it's like new. And this one in this little package, it's new. Same with this one. They're new. And they're like, this one's synthetic. And this one is 100% polyester. And this one's pure bristle. And this one's polyester. And I got 2 scrapers. Now these I told Jack he can have them. I got one kind of really nice one. I might keep that one for, sometimes I use things like that. And then I can always use these stir sticks and a whole container of spackling. And a very nice, very strong little container. So I spent $7 for that, and I think I got my money's worth. It won't be staying in those containers, but these I did need. That would have cost me. I use sometimes if I'm painting, masking off areas I don't want paint to go in, or just painting around the house. So that's it for today. The next thing I have to repot, and this is the perfect time to do repotting because we're starting our growing season. We've changed to the higher nitrogen. I still have to go and look for I'm looking for a fertilizer with the high first and last, lower middle. So I'm still looking for that, which I haven't really honestly been too busy to look, but I wanted to look for that. Otherwise, I keep using my plant prod, which I've always used, till I find it. And so I'm going to do both dendrobiums, which are just crowded in their pots. You'll see that. They haven't been done in 3 or 4 years because they weren't doing anything and I never fussed with them. So they're the next one, and I got a surprise doing one of them. And so that's it. That's our video. And thank you for joining me. I know I might be a Phalaenopsis Phalaenopsis specialist for this type of area and in your home. But the other orchids I'm still learning, and I'm seeing how much beautiful orchids are out there, different kinds. And it's still cold, there's snow on the mountains. I can't order yet, but I plan to do some ordering as soon as I know it's safe. I got one notification from one orchid place, but there was no Phalaenopsis on the list. And I am looking for a giant one. So, but I have seen a couple on the community channel that are tempting me. So, I think that's it. Thanks for joining me. I appreciate your company, your comments, and you will be surprised, even though you live on the other side of the country. We are so much alike, and there are a lot of good people in this world, and I think we are the quiet majority.